This is November 2010 Modular paper, Unit 1, Statistics and Probability. Question 1 is a probability question. Laura has a four-sided spinner. The spinner is biased. Biased means it's not fair. Not every option has an equal chance of winning. The table shows each of the probabilities that the spinner will land on 1 or land on 3. The probability that the spinner will land on 2 is equal to the probability that it will land on 4. Laura is going to spin the spinner once. Work out the probability that the spinner will not land on 1. So I'm looking for it to not land on 1. So the probability of it landing on 1 is 0.25. To find the probability of something not happening, you do 1, take away the probability that you're looking at. In our case, it's 0.25. So the probability of that not happening is 0.75, and that's your final answer. So the probability of not landing on a 1 is 0.75. For part B, it wants you to work out the probability that the spinner will land on a 2. Now, they told us above that the probability of it landing on a 1 is 0.25, of landing on a 3 is 0.35, and that 2 and 4 are equal. Now, I know that they're all going to add up to 1. So first thing I need to do is work out the probabilities I've been given. So I've been given 0.25. And I've been given 0.35. So together, I've been given 0.6 or 0.60. Now, I want to do 1, take away the 0.6 that I've been provided with. That leaves me with 0.4. But this isn't our final answer because that 0.4 has got to be divided between both that and that. So 0.4 divided by 2 equals 0.2. So the probability of it landing on a 2 is 0.2. That would also be 0.2. Question 2. This question requires a logical approach. Mr. and Mrs. Jones are planning a holiday to the Majestic Hotel in the Cape Verde Islands. The table gives information about the prices of holidays to the Majestic Hotel. There's the price tariff. Mr. and Mrs. Jones are thinking about going on holiday on the 20th of February for 7 nights. 7 nights. Or on the 10th of April for 14 nights. Mr. and Mrs. Jones have 2 children. Compare the cost of these 2 holidays for the Jones family. So that's the whole family going. So that means we're looking at the price for 2 adults and 2 children. I'm making a note of that so I don't forget it later. So first of all, they're thinking of going February for 7 nights. So there's February. And there's a couple of dates for February. They're looking at February the 20th. So that's going to fall within this range here. And they're looking at 7 nights. So they're looking at either that price or the 10th of April for 14 nights. So there's the 10th of April and that's for 14 nights. So because they're going to ask me to compare the cost of the 2 holidays, I'm going to split my page into 2 sections. One section for the February holiday, one section for the April holiday. Now, I'm going to write down that I know the price for 1 adult in February equals £714. In April, the cost of 1 adult equals £802. Now what I'm going to work out is the tariff for 1 child. Now, price per child is also different for February and April. 95% of the adult price on a 7-night holiday, and 85% of the adult price for a 14-night holiday. So since as the one in February is for 7 nights, and the one in April is for 14 nights, we're going to have to multiply to find the child cost. The adult price, which is £714, times by the 95%. In order to do that on a calculator, you're multiplying by 0.95. Now 714 times by 0.95 is going to give us £678.30. So that's the cost of one child. To get one child over here for 14 nights, we're looking at the 85% this time. So I'm looking at that £802 times by 0.85, which is going to equal £681.70. So the cost of one adult is £714 for 7 nights, and the cost of one child is £678.30. And in April, one adult is £802, and one child is £681.70. Now I'm going to find the total cost for both months. So in February, my total cost is going to be 2 adults, so that's 2 lots of £714, and 2 lots of £678.30, because that's the 2 children. And also over here, 2 lots of the adult price, which was £802, add 2 lots of the child price, which was £681.70. 2 lots of 714 equals £1,428. And 2 lots of the child price is £1,356.60. When you add those together, you're going to end up with a total of £2,784.60. And over here in April, you're looking at 2 lots of 802, which is 1,604. 2 lots of the child price is 1,363.4. And then you're going to add them together to get your total. And your total cost in April is £2,967.40. So now I can make a comparison of my total prices. And from this I can see that in February it's £2,784, and in April it's £2,967. So I'm just going to make a statement at the end saying that it is cheaper to go on holiday in February for 7 nights than April for 14 nights. And that's that question complete. I'm going to quickly talk you through how the marks are allocated for question 2. Now, this was a 5-mark question. The first mark is actually for identifying the correct information, and this is a working mark, and that's allocated there. It's a B1 mark, a working out mark, and that's for identifying the 2 correct prices on the date. So that's for reading the tables. Now, at any other point in this question where you've used those readings, you can get the mark. Your answers number-wise are going to be wrong, but you can continue to get the M marks, the method marks. So, for example, that's 714. Here, I've multiplied it by the 95%. And I've done that with the 85%. That gives me my first method mark. If I had the wrong answer there, and therefore I've put whatever that was times by the 95%, I can still get my method mark because I've done the correct thing. Now there's a second method mark, so you can carry that mistake through, and you can get the second method mark down here. If you have shown that you've known to find 2 lots of the adult price, whatever you've stated the adult price to be, and 2 lots of the child price, regardless of what you have stated the child price to be. So that's another M1 there. Now, your final marks have to be correct, and they are your A marks. So you get an A1 for getting the totals correct. And then to get the 5th and final mark, you get a C1 at the bottom. And that's a communication mark. That's for clearly stating that from your answers, you can draw a conclusion and decide which is cheaper. Question 3 is a nice straightforward question, but there is a trick that people fall into, a trap even. So, Uzma wants to find out the method of transport people use to travel to a shopping centre. Design a suitable data collection sheet she could use to collect this information. Now, the trap people fall into is they don't pay attention to the fact it's asking you for a data collection sheet. People will go straight in and create a questionnaire question for this. For example, they might write, what method of travel did you use to come to the shopping centre? And then a load of option boxes. That's not what it's asking. It's asking you for a sheet in which the data can be collected. And that is a tally chart, whereby you need 3 aspects. The first is for the method of travel. And within that method, you need to list, it says in the mark scheme, at least 3. So I'm going to list bus, car, walk, and I'm going to put other. Now, the next one is for tally. You do not need to complete the tally because you'd be making numbers up. The final is for frequency, and there's your 3 marks. 3 marks for 3 aspects. 1 aspect, the second aspect, and the third aspect. 3 marks. You can give yourself 2 marks if you've got 2 of them, and you can give yourself 1 mark if you've managed to get 1 of them there. Question 4 is a stem and leaf diagram. However, we're used to seeing stem and leaves most frequently like that. This time it's a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram because it's showing 2 sets of data. So Zoe recorded the heart rates in beats per minute of each of 15 people. That's important. There's 15 people. Zoe then asked the 15 people to walk up some stairs. She recorded their heart rates again. She showed her results in a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram. There's the key, and there's a key. The question wants you to compare the heart rates of the people before they walked up the stairs and after they walked up the stairs. Now, whenever a question is asking you to compare a distribution or 2 sets of data, you should straight away be thinking median. And the median, in case you cannot remember, is the middle value. So the first thing I'm going to find is the median before and the median after. Again, you can see how I've split this into 2 sections. So to find my middle value, first of all, there were 15 people in total. I need to add 1 for accuracy and divide by 2. So my total amount of people, add 1, and then I divide by 2 to find the halfway. That gives me 16 divided by 2, which equals 8. And what that 8 means is I am looking for the 8th person. So let's find my before median. I'm looking for the 8th person. You go from smallest to largest. It can be quite tricky to read the backwards stem and leaf diagrams. That is 58. That is 59. So this is my lowest value, 58. My second lowest is 59. Then I go to 60. Then it's 61. Then 64. So now I've familiarised myself with how the numbers are. I can count up and find my 8th person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's my 8th value. However, it's not 7, remember, it's 67. It's even right next to the key to remind you of that. So my median for before was 67 beats per minute. Now I'm going to find the after one. I'm going to look for my 8th person again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8th person. They had a heart rate of 78 beats per minute. Now I'm going to make a comparison here on my median. And I'm going to say that the median heart rate was...
Good evening, Mr. Caretaker. Announcement for any teachers left in the building. It's 10 to 6 and at 6 o'clock you'll be locked out. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm home now. So, the median heart rate was smaller before than after. Now, this is a 6-mark question. There's 3 marks there. The second thing you need to mention is something to do with either the range or the interquartile range. I'm going to go for range. So in order to find the range, it's the largest number, take away the smallest number. So big take away small. Again, I'm going to look at the before and the after. So the range before is the biggest number, which in this case is 84. Take away the smallest number, which is 58. And 84 take away 58 is 26. And after, the biggest number is 102. Take away the smallest number, which is 65. And 102 take away 65, is 37. Now I can make another comparison based on what I've got here. So I'm going to say that the range was larger after the stairs than before. And with regards to marks being allocated, you get a B2 for your workings out of the median. You get a B2 for the working out of the range. And you get a C1 for your communication of the first comparison.